Oh boy. Good morning. Is it time? It's always time to be aware and to be rising in one's awareness, always. Because this is the difference between being alive and not, is one's level of awareness. Do you conceive of yourself as having different levels of awareness? You might think about it because I think we do. One of the ways that I became aware of the varying levels through one's day of awareness is in doing my eye exercises. I do eye exercises because my vision has deteriorated over the last 10, 20 years. I wanted to remain, number one, and improve if possible. And I find that it is possible to improve one's eyesight by exercising, just like everything else. If we exercise our muscles, then we can maintain and improve them. And this is the same thing. It's another set of muscles. It's also the point that we're discussing in this moment, correlating to one's brain, one's mind, one's left and right hemispheres, one's cerebrums. And through exercising on a consistent basis, habitualizing it, one becomes more keen, more aware, more receptive, sensitive to what's occurring. As you're looking at an image, you're looking at an eye chart 10 feet away and, looking at the different lines of one's visual acuity, one's sharpness, one's how well you see. And it changes. And it changes not over time as in weeks and months or years, but also in moments and seconds. It's changing. One eye gets better. The other eye gets worse. Then it improves. Both eyes get worse, and then they improve. It is amazing, the variance in one's mental acuity, one's mental activities, awareness, perception, reception, sensitivity again. So I've come to realize this, that there's many levels throughout one's day. For instance, you're very tired. Okay, what's your level of awareness? For instance, you've been drinking or smoking or consuming a lot of food or just exhausted from physical exertion. Do you think that your mental level is the same throughout all of these different processes that are going on, these different additions and subtractions from one's physiology, brain food, lack of food, water? People have hallucinations if they're too dehydrated, right? I'm just suggesting to be aware of the potential for variations in one's level of awareness. With that said, why are we here? Because we want to improve ourselves with little steps of self-improvement, with increasing our senses of virtuosity, our resilience, our consistency in our practice, our patience, our kindness, our understanding. And that's what we're talking about right now. Being in a comfortable posture. It's fun to be comfortable with when one is sitting for a period of time, and usually we like to sit for around 15 minutes, right? 1% of one's day. 14.4 minutes is 1% of 1,440 minutes, which is 60 times 24. Okay, if you multiply all that out times 60 again, you come up with 86,400 moments or seconds. That's a lot. Realizing that there are many different ways of perceiving the reality that we live in, then all of a sudden one says, whoa, you said what? 86,400? Whoa. If we look at it that way, there's enough time to do anything that we want. It is more of a question of how we are playing. Are you taking too many time out when there's something you don't want to accomplish, something you don't want to face, something you don't want to contemplate? I would say it's more along those lines when you don't have, I don't have enough time when we say that. I'm busy. That's what we're saying. I mean it not necessarily all the time. Sometimes you have different responsibilities. You only do have so much time, only so many hours and minutes, seconds, and your allocation of them is changing. What's the importance of XYZ today versus ABC? It's always changing. We need to be flexible and open and adaptive. We need to be learning all the time from our experience. This is what mindful meditation is all about, is to be mindful about what's occurring in one's day-to-day life so we can analyze and interpret and make our direction into those paths and those directions where we're finding success in improving ourselves, being positive and creating better energy, better relationships with ourselves, with our loved ones, our families, our friends, our co-workers, our community, our world, on each level of responsibility that we have, because we have a responsibility to everyone, to everything on this planet. Sometimes people have this idea someone is a guru. I'm getting solicitations on my email now to come and meet a guru. It's a blast. It's going out to probably tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people. Come and meet the guru. It's kind of a funny thought, because in the past I would perhaps been interested. But I think that the point I want to make is everyone's guru, everyone's teacher, because that's what this word translates to, in my opinion, should be inside of oneself. It's fine that someone would guide you where you haven't gone before because it's unknown to you. So you need help. You need to understand the terrain. You need to understand possibly tools that you have not considered, and someone's helping you with a shortcut. Okay, this is valuable. Or to be helpful, same thing, but just a different word. To oneself. This is what I would like to think of myself as my role is. But it is to be thought about that one doesn't want to rely on someone else's teaching, because one must ascertain, one must experience and consider inside of one's own brain, one's own mind, one's own soul and heart, what's being discussed. Faith is a wonderful concept, but we want to deal in as much as we can with the facts as we understand. And we want to have the experiences are being spoken about or proclaimed inside of ourselves as a reconfirmation of what we realize to be the truth. Self-realization is not realization based upon someone else's experience, because that's not self-realization. That's trust. There's a difference between trusting what someone is saying and experiencing it oneself. So be careful of these things. It's all great to be holy and spiritual and get away for a weekend and have a sit down with a bunch of people and everyone's like-minded, and I've done it and enjoyed it immensely. It can be something to enjoy, but realize in the back of your mind the ultimate guide that one has is behind your own eyes, in your own mind, in your own being, not in someone else. So be mindful. This is the point. Be mindful of your own self-education, your own self-improvement. This is what we're talking about, mindful meditation. Be purposeful in what you are seeking. Be wise in what you are seeking. And how? Don't presume that someone else is going to bring you enlightenment. Maybe they can or will. But how long will it last if you haven't built the foundation oneself? That's the point. It is easy to be in awe when you are gazing at the Grand Canyon or looking up into a starlit sky. It's another thing when there are some problems and you can reflect in the same way, in a sense of awe, realizing the quirky nature of our creation and all of the different perceptions coordinating in every moment of what we call time. One's wide and broad sea of perception can be a sense of awe in any environment, in any moment of time. And it is always available. But one needs the wisdom and self-knowledge. Again, this word, self-realization, self-illumination, right? We're shining the light on ourselves to see these things. It's why it's so important to consistently practice, to improve. If you go to the gym once a month, how is that going to improve your musculature? Probably not. Probably not, period. You might be painful for a couple of days after your experience. You might be hopeful. You might be anticipating. But one needs to be consistent, disciplined in one's practice. Making it so. These are the tools of self-improvement. We make an effort to be better, to strive, to become, to be. Communication with oneself is crucially important. I'm going to say it again. Communication with oneself is crucially important. How you perceive oneself, how you interact with oneself. If something is undesirable or not tasty, and you don't want to do it, to reach out and make these accomplishments that one might feel that they should be doing, then you need to pause and take a look. Why is there a sense of negativity associated with something that I know that I should be doing? This is mindful meditation. That's when it brings its virtue to the foreground, that you are receptive to oneself, receptive to listening, to finding one's own faults. And then because one has found them, to be able to work on improving them. So you can turn a negative into a positive. This is what the mindful meditation is for. This is what virtuosity is for. Because one wants to be kind to oneself too. If you beat yourself up because you are meditating, in quote, and you are fidgeting, or you have forgotten your breath because you are thinking about some other activity or responsibility or an imaginary or visualized whatever circumstance, and you are disappointed and angry, Are you successful? Or is there room for improvement? Can you understand that Homo sapiens, mankind, are multitasking creatures? And so have a propensity, have an ease of doing multiple things at once, of being understanding that this is evolutionary, that this has grown over 3 billion years of evolution as exemplified in our DNA, and that one should be kind and understanding and have a sense of compassion and empathy. So it's okay. No one's perfect. I have many, many, many failures in my life. Successes too, but both, most assuredly. Learn from everything. Be humble. Widen one's perspective. Seek self-improvement. Listen to others, but knowing you must teach yourself. This is what today's conversation is about. And the time is flying. I'm going to say namaste.